Hello, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. No. You can drag it here and it makes a new composition.
Okay.
Based on the settings of the video and the length. In this case here. Wait, no. So here. So if you see here, like this top slider thing, it's like visual zoom of your timeline. Of what the fuck's happening. The second one is like it's like your workspace. Like when you preview things, this is like the beginning and this is the end. So if you hit, I have it set up to play. Let me Alt and scroll also moves, and the middle mouse button, it gives you like this hand. It lets you move things as well. So like if you left click, it's selecting. Right click is right click. Middle mouse button is to move. So if you drag these here and you play, it's gonna play only that, right? You see? But like clicking here, it's fucking stupid. It's not very flowy. So a cool shortcut is B as in boy and N, and it's like beginning and end. That's so beginning is B. So if you press B, it moves like the workspace, the work area to that, and N as in Nancy as end, that says the end one. So Control Shift arrow also like it's like so Control left or right arrow is like frame by frame, and Control it keeps probably like 10 frames or whatever. Yeah, it's 10 frames. So here, N as in Nancy. Okay, so it has some shit. It has like some random shit just to make it look cool, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what's annoying sometimes, or something that like at the beginning of when I was doing motion graphics or whatever, it was hard trying to get like or like look for like cool stuff, try to do what other people did. But then as I got more experience, like at the beginning was like, oh, let me do something cool, and then kind of like fit whatever theme into that. That was like my whole process. But then as I get more experience, then I actually paid more attention to actually like first thinking of what's the theme I'm working with, and like doing some research if that mattered, and then everything else came easier. So instead of trying to find inspiration of like random shit that looks cool, it came from things that made sense for the piece. So it gave more meaning, and it's also it's like instead of trying to find answers from thin air, you just find answers from whatever the fuck the theme you're doing. So
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that, and because the company name is Idle Wealth, I was thinking of doing some sort of intro that involves sort of like waking up almost, or unlocking something.
unlocking.
Yeah.
Okay. Iron Wealth, is that the name?
Idle. IDLE.
IDLE. Oh, idol. Oh, okay, it makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I get it. I thought it was like some figure, like your brother was trying to to be on top of people, get people to worship him. No. Oh, okay, so okay, yeah, it's like that's cool. That's cool. It gets the point across. Just
Yeah,
fucking get rich.
exactly.
Uh,
That's what I'm
uh,
trying to do.
yeah, get yeah.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind people worshipping him though.
Yeah. So has there been any logo or anything at all?
Sorry?
Has have how you call it?
A logo?
Yeah, do you have a logo?
Yeah, yeah, I've got heaps of logos. Do you want me to send you some?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Of Vital Wealth? Yeah, okay. One sec.
yeah.
I'll try to find some.
I think I'm gonna stream this to. How much time do you have away today?
I have about another hour and a half.
Okay, so maybe if anything we can do many parts of this shit somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start streaming this as well to Facebook or some shit so it saves. Okay, how the fuck live video?
I'm sending you a zip file with all the different logos in it.
Okay.
There's like a black and white version, and there's a version with text and just the logo. You'll see what I mean.
Okay. Okay, let me make like a. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I'm going live on Facebook by the way.
Okay.
Tukuting. So you sent me via what?
I sent you a zip file, but I might just send you some individual ones
Is it? It's fine.
on Discord. Like that one, it's PNG.
Are those inside the zip file?
Yeah, there's a lot of ones that just are old and we don't use, so it might just be better if I send you some.
Okay, you send me whatever. Ah, cool. Reminds me of Chase.
Chase?
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Like the fucking. Where is this? This?
Oh yeah. Huh. Maybe that's where I got it from.
Oh, you ready? Probably. Okay. Do you have Do you have actually like the? How do you make? Oh, okay, it's an illustrator. Okay. Okay, cool. It's fine.
Alright, yeah. I sent the ones in Discord that were good as well.
Okay, let me. So save us. And I'll make a post on Instagram maybe, just so people can join live if they want. Hey, how do you say your name? Jerer? Or
It's weird for foreigners to say. So in Australia, people say Jarrah,
Jarer?
like that.
Or
Yeah.
Jarer? Or Bolchok?
You can call me Volchok if you want. I don't mind.
Yeah. Make a video of this. Hey guys, I'm here with Jarer or Bolchok, and we're gonna make an intro animation that will look better than this, better than that, or this one. So join us on Facebook/Roll Bureau. I'm live. I will upload this to YouTube later. Can we upload this? Here with Yer or Volchuk, and we're gonna make an intro animation that will look better than this, better than that. Hey guys, I'm here with Yer or Volchuk, and we're gonna make an intro animation that will look better than this, better than that. Hey guys, I'm here with. Okay. Dude, it's funny, man. I was. You know what made me also do this? Like I was. Well, I was just wandering the internet, and I saw like this guy, like YouTuber guy, I guess, like showing people like how things in movies were done, and
Oh yeah.
it was fucking cringe, man. Like the guy was misguiding people. Like, well, it's not misguiding, but like, uh,
Very basic.
no, it's not. It's like he didn't really know what the fuck was happening.
Yeah.
You know, so like some things. Uh, yeah, yeah. I'll show you later, but like it seems like he didn't really know, like fully, what was happening, and
Yeah.
and
I feel like there's a lot of that, especially on YouTube.
yeah, yeah. People are kind of like winging it, but I mean it's cool. Like he's doing his thing, but it should be more. Should be. It doesn't matter, I guess. Who fucking cares? But okay. So there's not been any animation done to anything, right? So we can actually look at your logo. So on the zip file, I guess I'll go to logo 3. See what the fuck is happening.
I
What's
can't even open those files because I don't have Illustrator on my computer.
Oh really?
I
Okay.
don't know what they look like.
Okay, we'll see. I might live on Facebook.
Yeah, so it's very basic.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. Idle wealth. Do you want to see something I did?
Yeah. Go for it.
It's well, I don't know if it's. Well, I'll show you later. I don't know. I don't know if it's live yet.
Does it take a while usually?
No. Well, it's probably fine. I'll just show you. I did this animation for ice cream. Super lovely people. In case you guys are watching. No, but they are super cool. Lesson. final. I animated this. You ready?
Yeah.
You see? It's cool, eh?
Sick.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I haven't heard of Nix before.
It's Swedish. Yeah, you should buy it. Everybody should buy it. The cool thing is that it's actually healthy ice cream.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a cool campaign. I hope they do well during this pandemic because the company I was freelancing at to do a whole lot of animations. They were super cool.
Yeah. Which program did you use mostly for that?
I use After Effects. You know what's funny, dude? Like those. Well, let me show you what the fuck I was saying. Like I did a lot of things for these guys. Yeah, but like those. Like this is an actual 3D ice cream I did. But like these ones here, I did like a render. Like at the beginning they spin out. You see how they spin?
Yeah.
But these spins they were static. Let me see. And then these are like flat renders,
Yeah.
but you cannot really tell.
No, you can't. You have to really like look.
Well, and the thing is that like in this case, because of the way that it was composited, like it's fine. Like it's enough. I didn't need to do, and because they were all facing us all the time, I didn't need to render like actual 3D again.
Yeah.
But it's like everything is a matter of like seeing. Like I could have done it all this 3D again, but it would have taken much.
The whole time.
Yeah, it was gonna take much longer to reiterate because renders were gonna take longer. Whatever. But anyways, it's like I really like how it turned out. But I'm sure this will not bounce as much because I don't think it's the theme.
You can make it 3D if you want.
Well, let's see. So who made these, by the way?
My brother did.
Okay, cool. I don't know what the fuck's happening here. You see?
Yeah.
It's fine. Okay. You know School of After Effects? Well, I guess first things first. Let's before we get into like into this type deal with like random shit. Like the same thing I did with the Nix ice cream. The first thing I did was animated the logo. So the logo had its animation, and then I added like movement. I added things around it, but first was this itself, and then we can then add jazz around it or whatever. So here you make a new layer on this create new composition. 24 frames because that's kind of like the minimum, and it looks good, and like the less frames you have to work with the better, because you don't want to kill yourself. Logo animation.
So I honestly think the logo looks better without the text. So every time I use it for like I just use the logo and
like this icon.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I kind of feel this more like this type deal, uh, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Some
like that.
maybe we animate this circle thing, and then the idle wealth. It's like it. It doesn't show like this looks well. I think for like a letter maybe that you're.
That's like
Se-
for the Facebook banner. That's what it's
yeah,
for.
or like your email signature.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so a cool trick with After Effects, you know what? It's you can select things. Control C. Let's make a. If you make a solid, you see that?
Oh, whoa.
See what happened? Have you wait you have not used After Effects much, right?
No, I haven't used it at all.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, let's start from. So here on the bottom left, new composition. So
Hmm.
are you familiar with the UI at all? Much?
Yeah, yeah. It's the same as Sony Vegas, pretty much.
Okay. Usually effects is here, but I like to drag it to the side. So because I do effects a lot, I guess. Um, I also went like here for tutorials or whatever. I went to like the default because I use like two screens for my stuff. But
Mhm.
if I'm recording this, I should just keep it like that. So I'll make a new. I'm gonna save this. A naming convention I like to use P as in project. Then what this is about. Let's intro. V1. What's this? I'll give it to you. So I'll put my initials here. RV
Okay.
underscore V01. So here, like here, I made a new folder using this icon here. Name it ref, and I put here the like these videos, so we see what the fuck, so we see what's happening. So make a new comp. So you click here for new composition on the bottom left. Then here you can type the name. So this will be logo anim. So here you set the pixels. So we want like a normal video is 1920 by 1080. Square pixels, 24 frames. This is how long. You can change everything later, so it's fine.
Hmm. Yeah.
So now it's like this.
Okay.
With scroll, you zoom. So, so now this is your timeline, right?
Hmm.
Here, nothing's happening. If you play, nothing's happening because nothing is happening. Like this is, if you see the icon here, there's like a checkerboard. That's a total transparency. Like there's nothing here, but by default, there's like a background color, but there's nothing really.
That makes sense.
You can toggle that. Now here, you can either add assets, like these videos. You can drag images. Like if you wanted to import like your logos. You can. Which one's this? This, like this third one. Like we can import this for color reference.
Hmm.
So you should like to make a folder called assets. So I can import it there. Now I can you can drag things here, and it brings it here, right? So the thing is that because we're not animate these, we kind of want to break things down, break things to be able to animate them. So one common thing you can do, like if you see on the top here on the toolbar, there's home, arrow, this hand thing, that's to move around. You can do the same with middle mouse click. I don't know if you've played Dota, but you can do the same in Dota. I guess it's zoom, camera, blah blah, and then there's pen tool. This is like the roto tool. Roto, it's like cutting, painting. So pen tool, if you drag that, by default it's like here. So now you can like click, and you see these handles. So you can click things, and it's kind of like to cut out things.
Okay.
So you see now you have only this viewing. You see?
Yeah.
You can keep clicking to make other things visible. Because we want to animate this, essentially, we would want to have different layers with different. So this layer here has this cutout, right? So if we click away, you see that you only see this. Now you can click and duplicate. Why is my logo thing not? One second. Pose. Okay, now you see. Yeah, so Control D to duplicate. Now the second one, I can double click this mask. This is called a mask. Like, so with the pen tool, we make a mask. Now we can either move things or just delete it. And now click this again. And now like select the other element. So essentially for animation, you kind of want to break things into elements to animate them. V as in Victor, it gets you back to the selection tool. So because we're in the pen tool, now to move things, go back to arrow. And yeah, we would do that. But because we have an Illustrator file, we are able to make this better, because like, I don't know if you see, but because this is an image, if we were to scale this, I don't know if you can see, but the edges start getting broken up because it's a bitmap image. This is vector, so this is like math. These are lines, and well, you know about math, I suppose. I hope you know. It's your fucking job. But so that's like, if we have this data here, we can use that instead. So instead of, like, ideally for logos or anything, you want to grab the vector images. So like the Illustrator. So in this case, I'm gonna delete this. Like, I'm gonna delete this mask, and now we'll just keep this for the color reference. So for scaling, like when you select a layer or image or whatever, you see these squares, which kind of makes sense. So you can click those to scale things. What I like doing, like I'm not a fan of like clicking and dragging, because it's very it's like a visual but not precise thing. If you see a layer here, there's this little arrow. If you click that down, it gives you options for like transforms. So position, scale, rotation, opacity. So if we see scale, it's right now set to 100. So this is width and height. And right now they're linked. There's like an icon that links them. So you do this. If you want to unlink them, you just click the thing. Same with position. So anchor point, it's like where things space from, like transformation space from. So right now it's in center, right? So if we rotate, it's based on that. If we were to change the anchor point, you choose this tool on the left or press Y, and that changes your cursor to an arrow with like little arrows. So that lets you move the anchor point. So if we move it somewhere else, now rotation is based on that.
Yep. Okay.
Same with the scale. See?
Yeah.
So this is super important because sometimes we want to animate things in a certain way. So this lets you like choose what's the origin. And the cool thing is that there's shortcuts of things. So if you have a layer selected, if you press P, you see position pop up here. You see?
Yeah.
Position, if you press R, if you press S, scale, T is opacity or transparency, 50 for transparency, A for anchor point, R. And if you press like R, Shift S, you're viewing scale plus rotation. If you keep holding Shift P, if you press Control and tilde or whatever you call it next to the one, it hides everything. Anyways, so we'll use this as a color reference only. So I'm gonna just put it aside. So now, so that's an image, right? You can do many more things than just an image. You can right click here and you see new. See? So new viewer, it's like this thing, text. So you can add text. For text, you can press T or Control T. Solid is a layer which you can set the size of this and the color, and it just makes, imagine we do red, it just makes a solid red layer. And this is very useful for many things, because you can generate, like, so here in effects, you can add things to your layers. So if you have something selected like the red solid, you can right click here and you can do things to it. Like, let's generate fucking checkerboard. So now this layer is showing a checkerboard. That's the fact we added a checkerboard. And like, we made a red solid, but this checkerboard kind of like overrides the look and it just makes a checkerboard. Yeah. So solid are like these useful things that you can use for many things. If we actually need like a red background, you can just move it down here and now we have a red background, you see?
Yep.
Cool. So in this case, we are gonna use the solid to contain these vector things. So you remember the masks, the pen tool? Yeah, so if you put down the solid, it does what you think would do and it just makes a thing. So but because we have an Illustrator file, we can literally select these things here, Control C, so copy and then select the solid and then paste. And now we have that, you see?
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
And you know what's cool? So a shortcut, I think, what is this? Is it here? Yeah, if you press this icon here, you don't see the masks, but Control Shift H also hides it, hides everything. It hides the Like sometimes, like here, if I'm trying to scale or do things, like things get in the way, like these fucking lines. So I'd like to press Control Shift H to hide everything. And now I would press like scale and scale things up. But I don't know if you see, but the edges look shit now, right? You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't know if you remember, but on the solid, this has a size. So this is acting like a bitmap. But there's this cool fucking icon here, which is like a star, which says for layers, blah, 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 for vector layer continuously rasterize. So if you press that, check that out. We're in Sharptown again.
Yeah. Cool.
So I'm gonna check that, and it looks shit. So anyways, so let's make a solid per one of these things. So to do that, so I don't know if there's a shortcut here to change the settings. So a shortcut to make a solid, like for new solid, is Control Y. Control Y makes a new solid. Control Shift Y change the settings for whatever solid you had selected. So we can have this color picker here and grab one of these things here. Control Shift H is show. So let's make this layer be this bottom one. I'm gonna duplicate this layer. Control Shift Y to change the settings. Color picker nets thing here. Now I'm gonna duplicate this. Control Shift Y. Do this blue. Duplicate this. Control Shift Y. Do this one here. And now I'm so on the layer, like the left, okay, on the layer here, you see this eye icon? You see that on the bottom left? Yeah, that hides and shows layer. The second one is, well, the second one literally is like audio, but there's no audio, so there's nothing. This third one, it's solo. So you click that to solo a layer.
Okay, yeah.
Then there's a lock. So if you don't want to touch it. But in this case, I want to solo this. And because this is like this right one, this right one, I'm gonna literally just delete these masks. You see? I'm gonna just double click this. And sometimes it's a bit messy. What you can do also is, if you press M, it shows you the masks.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so because we added masks, like, I don't know if you remember, but on this first one, if you click the arrow, there's only transform, because that's the only options you have right now set to like the image. But because we added masks, now you can click here and you see transform and you see masks and you see each mask. What the fuck? A shortcut is M as in masks. So this one here, which is this mask 3, so you can click here and delete. So we have that. No, unsolo that. This blue one is the one on top, so I'm gonna solo this. Shit, I don't want to move it. So we have that. Then this one is a white. And then this on the bottom. Okay, so now our progress is the same thing you had. but now we have more freedom. So some cool things that now we can do is like okay, we don't need this. I'm gonna just hide it. So just for fun, what about this kind of like rotates and like one comes like from behind another one, you know? Let's just do it to see how it looks, because it looks simple enough. So right now everything is still has the same anchor point here in the center, you see?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you press R, like things,
Yeah.
you see, like we can literally make like everything come out of one, you see? Kind of like in an offset type deal.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, and like because we had like these separated elements, we can do that, you know? So maybe because of color, let's make everything come out of the dark one, maybe. Let's see. So, and you know what's cool, which helps, is like by default. So you know what something you can do? Like you can select everything you want and press R, and now all you see is rotation, you see?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and what you see is that right now 0 rotation, it's like the end spot for everything, you see? So maybe we move forward in our timeline, and now like at the end of everything has to, well, except for the blue one, let me move this on top. Like these 3 here, they have to end there. So you see this next to the name rotation, there's a stopwatch. There's like a little circle thing.
Yep.
So that lets you add a keyframe. So if you click that, there's a keyframe. So now there's like a keyframe. There's like a little diamond that appears on the timeline. So I'm gonna just click that on all of these, on these 3. And now I'm gonna go back in time and move the rotation. So if you like, you can either, if you press W, you can rotate via the screen, which is this icon here. This is rotation tool. I personally like dragging things via the values here. So if you see, I can drag the value with my mouse and left and right. But then if I hold Control, it makes like when I move normally, it changes the values like 1 digit at a time. But when I press Control, it changes the decimal value. So it's more like a smooth.
Yeah, gotcha.
So now like I move things here and then with Control, kind of like smooth it up. And it makes sense here. Like it seems like 90 degrees. It's like the actual rotation that I need to hide things. So this one, my guess would be 90 degrees times 2. Yeah. Yeah, and you can actually do math here, man. Like you can do like 90 times 2 and press enter, and it gives you the number or whatever.
That's so cool.
Yeah, super cool. This one would be on the bottom here. So it would be 90 times 3. If you don't want to do math. so this is like, so right now, like what we did is, so this is why B and N is important. Like here, you can set B and N here because we don't need to play the whole fucking thing. So this is what literally happened right now.
That looks sick.
Yeah, it can look better. The the but yeah, it looks cool. The cool thing is that like whatever you do kind of has to pretty much the design like lets you do things, you know, like this design lets us do this.
Yeah.
So just being aware of of what do you have at your disposal. This is keyframes. So this icon here, it says graph editor, which is it's literally the last icon to the right above of these things here. So if we select something like here, press this graph editor, this shows the interpolation of what's happening. You see?
Yeah.
So at this time, in this case here, the left is value, the y-axis or whatever, and the x is time, right? Because we're in a timeline. So at the beginning we're at, in this case, 90 degrees, and then we go to 0. But it's linear right now. That's why it just fucking goes and stops, right? When you select points here, now there's options here. You see, this is like a hold thing. So hold means it's gonna keep the value until the keyframe, and then it's gonna change. It's like a yeah, it's like a 1 and 0 type deal. Like it just fucking goes. The second one is like linear. This one is set to follow like the path, but because there's only 2 keyframes, you don't really see what's happening. Then this one here sets like a easy ease, easy in, so it kind of flattens things. A shortcut of this is F9. So F9 is a shortcut to ease things. So if you press tilde or whatever you call it, you go full screen of whatever your mouse is on, by the way.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So your mouse is here, you do this, in this case, graph editor, right? So as you can see, now everything, this one eases in, so the value doesn't change much, and exponentially, it goes kind of linear, and then like slows down. It's like, what's cool of this, like it's like when I was in college, for some reason, I was not much of a graph editor guy. Like for some reason, I didn't like interact with it much. But like as time went on, like really knowing like how graphs work, which I'm sure you do, it's easy, right? This is time and this is value, so you can literally modify this graph editor to do whatever you want, you know? Like you can drag this thing here to the mats, and then like this to the mats, and it's gonna have like super slow. So let's try this, right? Well, let's do the default F9. Let's do everything F9. So you can literally grab everything here and press F9. So now we'll see what's happening. Let me place here so it doesn't take too long. So now it like kind of takes a bit longer and kind of stops. If we were to, like, you can also actually select many keyframes and give it. So maybe we grab all of this, move this around. So now it's more like a radical change. You see?
Yeah.
So now let's see how that looks. You see?
Oh yeah, yeah, I prefer that.
You see? But it's it's you kind of like give it and then you go and kind of slow, and like suddenly you went from this is default, right? You went from, oh, it's cool, but it's amateur, right? This is like amateur.
Yeah,
Then you go, oh, let's do F9, right? Because fucking F9, some fuck said that on YouTube. Uh, so now you're like, oh, okay, but then you want to be like hipstery, fucking cinematographer in the mountains guy. Then you pull off like the S curve thing here. This is a cool one because it gives more personality or whatever. Like, but it's a more motion graphics, more modern type deal going on. Uh,
yeah, you can tell.
yeah, like it's completely different. And you see, dude, like it's just a matter of like the change is radical, but like the effort it's minimal. Just it's not bad. Uh,
Yeah, no.
okay, so now, let's imagine we want to go with this, right? Uh, so this is an element, right? Like how do we get to? So now we have this, right? We have this. Also, you see how at the beginning here, for some reason, it's not very fun.
Yeah, is that because the shape's just a little bit off? They're not all the same.
Yeah, probably. So what we can do is, okay, let's tackle one by one, I guess. So you can like solo different. So let's solo these first two. You can solo multiple layers. So let's see what's happening. Okay, so this is perfect situation. Like at the beginning, here, we don't want this, right? You see?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you move frame by frame, we still don't want this. Like we care like when we start seeing this here.
Yeah.
So on the next frame, we actually see it, and then we don't see it here now anymore. So for us, it's a matter of hiding the layer or not have it showing before this frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see here at the beginning, like we can literally move where it's on the timeline here. You see,
Mm-hmm.
but we can change the length of things. So if you go all the way to the left, you see like this little arrow thing, and it changes where we start seeing things. You see? The shortcut for that, I mean, you can do that. The shortcut is Alt left bracket. There's a couple shortcuts, like bracket. This bracket shortcut, it's very cool. Like left bracket, it moves. Well, let me undo that. Left bracket moves whatever layer you have selected to that part of the timeline. So if you press left bracket, you see everything moved to where my timeline was.
Yeah.
If you do the right bracket, it's the end part that moves. So left bracket, it's the beginning, and right bracket, it's the end. So let me reset that. If I do Alt, left bracket, it doesn't move. It just trims the layer to where my timeline is, the beginning of the layer. So in this case, I needed to start here, so Alt left bracket. So now, as you can see, like this problem here is no longer a problem. Looks like the looks like the edge here is not very fun. What we can do is, let me see, does this work? Yeah, no. What we can do is, okay, this is perfect. You see this, right? You see this edge here? Yeah. Like, it's a perfect situation to show you something else. So you can use layers as track mats. That's it, the name, track mat. So imagine this gray solid, right? It's moving. We don't really want to see anything here because the blue one is there. So I'm gonna make a solid. So Control Y, and now I may make it a gray matte. I'm just like gray matte, and now I'll make it some more green so we can actually see it. So I just made it solid, right? I'm gonna hide the solid, and I'm gonna show these blue things as a reference. But having the gray matte selected still, I'm gonna make a mask that's gonna pretty much be on what I don't want showing. So you see here, so I'm gonna cover this. So now, like I can still mask things with layers that are not visible. So I still have the gray matte. So if I solo the gray, this is what I have, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. So I made this, right? I made this like shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just made the shape that pretty much covers where I don't want to see things. Like I want to see things from here on, but not here. So selecting the gray solid, there's mode and there's a T and there's track matte. So now it says none right now. And I have options: alpha matte, alpha inverted matte, luma matte, luma inverted matte. So alpha matte, what it means is it's gonna look at the layer above it, and alpha, it's like what's visible, the transparency. It's gonna be visible on whatever is visible on the layer above. Alpha inverted is the same thing. Luma matte is gonna look at the color and base it on black and white. So if something is white, it's gonna be completely visible, and if something is black, it's invisible, and the grays are kind of like in between. So in this case, if we do like alpha matte, let me hide the blue one. So you see, the gray is only gonna be visible where the green is. You see?
Oh yeah.
So essentially we want the invert of that. So alpha inverted matte. So it's gonna be like this, you see?
Yep.
So now if we have the blue one above, now we don't have this fucking thing going on, you see? It's gonna be perfect and clean. You see?
Yeah, that looks sick.
Yeah, so let's do it on the other ones. So we have that. Let's see this blue one. So we don't need to see blue. Like we start seeing blue. Oh, we start seeing blue. Like, oh yeah, we actually need. Let's just make a matte. You know. Actually, we can literally use the. Let me extend this.
I was thinking, just extend that.
Yeah, let's just extend that. So just Control D. Do this, and I duplicated the matte, and then alpha inverted. So let's duplicate this, alpha inverted. So now Okay, here we see some shit. So maybe we see this one. Where's this blue one? Okay, let's do this one. So I'm gonna have it start here and then, but then have this green one just come from like here. So it's not harsh. Anyways, so there's that. So yeah, like that's the beginning. But like starting from this, that's fucking boring, right? That's not very good. So pretty much we have to get here. So here it's a perfect situation to show this as well. Here it says parent and link. You see? It says none. You can, like, if I were to move the blue layer and I want to move things together, like you might want to do this, but then it gets tricky. And if you have positions keyframe, you're like making keyframes and stuff. So you can actually link layers to a single layer. So in this case, I want to pretty much link everything to this blue one here. So
that's the parent.
Yeah, that's the parent. So I'm gonna just shift select everything, and then you can click this thing here, and it's like a whip tool thing, parent pick whip. You can pick whip, or you can literally choose what layer you want it to link it to. So now this one moves everything, right? So yeah, the cool thing is that now, like, instead of this randomly just coming off, like we can do a thing where well, we want to stop at 0 because that's like the stop point. So maybe we make a keyframe for 0 and then move back a bit, and do like a thing. But then should be cool and like flowy. Let's add some F9 maybe. No. So we want to kind of keep moving. Maybe. Then this maybe. Okay, so we can probably do like let's see what can we do about this. So if we let's just leave it here, so then we can figure out, because maybe we do some animation and then this comes out of that. Also the low is too big, so, and the cool thing is now that because everything is parented to this, you can scale things down and everything just kind of moves with it. So
yeah, awesome.
So now we can then, so let's just have it like that right now. We can then add some text animation here in the bottom. It's also good to, like, something to not forget is to move around, because sometimes you get stuck and then like the big picture, you don't do shit.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Feel free to like change the text. It doesn't have to be like those colors or anything. It can be whatever you want.
Yeah. So There's you know what font was used for this?
No, I don't. I can ask my brother though if you want.
Yeah, that'd be cool because there's some like text animation things here that could like save us time. Let me see if no. No. I can also try to. There's a website. What the font? I guess I can see if I can get this. I'll save us.
Yeah, I'm not sure what font it is. He's not responding. I'll let you know if he does. But
Okay.
message.
Let me see if I can find it. Is your brother trying to rent like expensive cars? Should make videos on expensive cars.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Okay. You know, it's funny. Like many people have done that, like rented houses, and especially here in LA, like just paid some models and kind of like faked it until they made it. Yeah. Are these all like bot fonts? Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the same regardless. Just pick whatever you want.
Okay, maybe we do it with some font and then we can update the font anyways and be fine.
Yeah, cool.
It's fine. So my guess is this is more like a white background thing, right? White background.
Yeah.
Like look. Maybe? No?
Well, we've got one that's just purely white, and we use that on dark backgrounds, but we use that one for white backgrounds with the colors.
Okay. Idle wealth. So After Effects comes with a lot of text things. So Control T to make a new text. If you click and drag, you make like a bot. So if you see anything, it's because the text is another color. So everything's kind of like contained on the bots. But if you just click, it just makes the text. You're not limited to bots. So idle wealth. Let's look for like a similar font. Also a cool so window, it lets you show different panels, right? Align is a great one to have. It by default it's set to selection maybe, or I don't know, but here you can, instead of like trying to eyeball things, here you can set things. So if you have many things selected, I think it's set to selection. So here you align things relative to things, but if you only have one layer, it aligns to the composition. So if you do left here, it actually snaps it to the left.
Yep.
And then center, right, center. So instead of eyeballing, it's a good idea to use that. Okay, let's use this for now.
Yep.
Well, so here character you can change everything pretty much. Same, you can use control to do like fine picking size. So my idle wells, imagine it's there. You had like some colors, right, on this? It's like light gray and blue.
Yeah, just some of the colors from the circle.
Yeah, let me see. Oh, it's actually based on the circle?
Yeah, I think so. I think the gray is the same and the blue is the same.
Okay. So, yeah, literally you can select things, color picker, gray. And then maybe we darken it a bit. I don't know.
That looks good.
Okay, so by default, so text, right? You see text here? Because you see how everything is all red because of like everything has like a default color and everything just happens to be red. You can change the color here. So
Okay.
yeah, select this and then do whatever. Like some of the color, I like using your orange for important things because it's like everything is kind of very like the same color, like similar, but orange it pops out a lot.
Yeah, so it's just easy to see things.
Yeah.
So,
You can use lock everything if you want. I don't know. So here on text, so remember how you saw it transform here, and then well you see masks now because of text. You see text now. Like text has different more options. Okay. So because my guess is text would appear like as this is happening. So I'm gonna just start my timeline, my workspace here. So B, and so we're gonna be around here now. So source text, this first thing, it lets you keyframe the actual text. So imagine we set a keyframe there, and then we change this to it's like an exclamation or whatever. So it literally it makes like a
it changes it.
Yeah, your keyframe. And because it's text and it's not position, you're kind of like limited to. You cannot change how fast text changes because it's not possible because of the nature of how text is, you know. So let me just delete that. Then path options, where options, blah blah blah. What's important here is animate. You see? There's an animate thing here. So now there's position, scale, rotation. So let's do opacity, for example. Opacity, and that makes an animator here. You see? Now you see animator. So, and now it says opacity here. So I'm gonna set this to, if we want to do like a word by word fade. Well, if we want to do like a fade, like just nothing, we can literally just go to the normal transform, or if you press T for transparency or opacity, you can change the opacity here. You see?
Yeah, gotcha.
That's like, but that's like you're doing like layer right now. That's like a layer thing. But because we have text, we have more options. So you can do animate opacity. So which gives you this animator, and now you have this opacity. And if you do this, you're like, but that's the same shit, the same thing, you know? But let's do like 0, opacity 0. And now above that, it says range selector. So if you click that down, you see start and end. So you see this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is like it's like a fade. Uh, so
My letter.
yeah, that's our letter. So now, like if you don't really know which, and because there's also an end, so it goes from the other way around. So a good idea is to use move things and see, oh, it's here. So I want to start from here. So now on the start, you would add like the keyframe, then move forward, and then go to 100%. So now that makes that. You see?
Hmm.
It's it's,
Pretty cool.
it's like a thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, a cool thing to add like a little more or whatever is position. So check this out. So because we added animate opacity, you see, it made this animator, right? And the animator gave you an opacity thing. I didn't keyframe this. I just changed to 0. And range pretty much sets when things start. If I want to do anything else adding to this, I can simply click on add here. So this would add parameters that will be linked to this range selector. Well, let's just do it because it sounds complicated. What the fuck are you saying? So you might read the position now. So now we see here opacity and position, right? So if position, I move the first ones to the left. Now what's gonna happen is text will kind of like,
Oh yeah.
you see, like the first, like pretty much what you're setting here is what's gonna be happening at the beginning, and then the range selector, it keyframes. You decide like when it happens, when it changes back to normal. But this position is kind of based on these keyframes as well. But if you want to have an independent start and end, maybe let me remove position. You will have to click animate again and position, and it makes another animator here. You see?
Yep.
So if you click things here on add, you're adding to this range. If you click animate again, you have its own range and its own time. So maybe we do that. So maybe start and end.
So for this one, would you have the range be the entire thing or like one word? What's
I mean,
the range for?
so did they move it this? Oh, you don't really see a difference here. What the fuck? No, the thing is that let me just delete this. So when you add an animate, it makes an animator with like a range and a parameter. In this case, opacity, right?
Yep.
If we want to add more parameters to change with these keyframes, you would just click add here. So property, maybe position, maybe we have it like kind of like move a little bit. So then you have that. It's not very sexy right now. Something that you also have to kind of like when doing these things, you kind of have to like let your guards down, like personally, to be affected. You know.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, it looks cool, like at the beginning, right? Oh, this look cool, and we could have just left it there. But so something we can do. Like I'm not much of a fan of how long everything is taking. Like we see idle, and then like there's like we're still in like nothing, and then we see wealth. Like it's kind of like a waste of time.
Yeah, it's a bit slow.
Yeah. So like I would go probably for like a idle and like wealth. Like wealth, it's kind of like appears kind of like a bit offset, but behind it somehow. So let's. I have an idea of what could probably be done. So I might use duplicate wealth. So we're gonna be doing is just have a layer for idle and a layer for wealth, and then play with like position and like something to maybe have them appear more close to each other, but in a better way. So because we're gonna change the text, like you see, if I hear, I might just go here. If I here change the text, like if I delete here, you see how everything moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fun. So when I see this, that's gonna happen, because I have to then move things back to where it was. I like to add rulers. If you press Control R, I don't know if you see here, but like a thing pops up like a ruler on the top and left. So if you move your mouse over it, you see some arrows, and that if you click and drag, it gives you these guides. So I'll go here to the left and add a guide to the left of the eye, because that's where like the idle, because I will have to move things around. So maybe that, and then I'll make that here for the H here. Okay, so now I have a guide of like where the idle begins and where wealth ends. So now I duplicated this text layer. So I'm gonna hide one, and then idle, I'm gonna use delete wealth. Now I have idle, and now I will move it. So I'll press P, position, the first value, which is adds, and then I'll move it here. You see?
Yep.
And if you press Control, it's like a more careful movement. Okay, so that's idle. Now I'm gonna hide this one. Or I don't need to hide. Yeah, I'm gonna hide it. Turn on the one above. Click here. Like this is a perfect, like if like you see how I'm in text mode here, and if I want to move around, middle mouse button, like I'm moving. So let's select this, click. Now position, move things here, and now Control. Now we're there. So now if I turn this on, we have that. But because we changed the text, this is gonna appear in like a long time, because this is based on the entirety of the text, and because it's less text. So like at this moment, everything is happening the same. Well, I'm gonna take off the position, because. So you know, it's a cool thing, because we're now starting to add keyframes, right? So a cool shortcut to see only what you have keyframed is U, as in umbrella. So if you press U on a layer, that's what you see. Yeah. If you want to see parameters that you have modified, you press U twice. U twice here. So I'm not a fan of position right now, so I'm gonna just delete that. So I'm gonna press U twice and delete that. So now we have a fade happening. So now what I kind of want is to for this text to like kind of like slide and stop here. So do you see? Okay, this is gonna look cool now. I'm gonna start to see this. So you see this logo, right?
Yeah.
Like right now, like we're gonna be seeing this blue whatever, and then the animation is kind of like going this way, right? Our eyes are gonna be like following this, and then when it gets here, we would want to rely on that to like make the text appear and move with it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
So like here, like things are happening. So I'm gonna turn this one first. So maybe here. So idle, I'm gonna play with position right now. So position. So by default, this is something that I always do because it gives you more control. By default, position has X and Y linked. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's two values, right? When you keyframe, you're keyframing both values. If you go to the graph editor, you see X and Y. So let's make another keyframe, for example. Let's only move. Let's do this or whatever. You see this? By default, X and Y are linked together. And what's annoying is that you cannot really change. Well, you can change things here, but like imagine we make this F9. But because it's linked, we cannot change the point curves at all. Like, you see?
Yeah, it's
like,
hard for me to see. Is the green the X and the red the Y?
No, it's the other way around. Y is green. But you see, I pressed F9 or whatever, but I don't have like the little tools here to move things because you're using one keyframe for two values, so you're limited, which is annoying. But what you can do is you can right click. Well, let me delete the keyframes. You can right click position, and there's separate dimensions. This is like something that I do every time. So if you click separate dimensions, now X and Y are separate. You see?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so X position and Y position. So now you can literally, like, and because I'm gonna mess with X, I can keyframe X, and then you go here, and then go here. So now I can actually add keyframes and whatever, and then like move things around because we're only messing with one value and not two values at the same time. So that's it should not be like, it's the thing with After Effects is that it's made to be simple, I guess, and to, but if you want to do more things or whatever, you have to do things like that, like separate dimensions and whatever. So now, yeah, that's too fast. Okay, so let's see, where are we? So yeah. Sometimes it's good to have like everything kind of like slowly settle. That's why I'm kind of like moving things to the right here and then extending this, so we have more like a granular. You see?
It looks way more professional when it's like when it slows down a bit.
Yeah, and then here the fade, it's fades too fast or something. And like this is like at the beginning here. I'm I'm an idiot. I'm changing the range for. I'm changing the opacity for wealth and not idle. So I can press U here, and then I can see. So this is cool, right? So now, like for example, here, like if you were to normally like click here and you have like all like there's too much info here. You see, it's like too much going on. So if you press U, now you only have what you have selected.
Yep.
So now.
There you go.
Yeah, like I think the beginning is too harsh. It's not bad. Well, maybe if I want to like fade more at the beginning, like this opacity happening right now, it's on the text animation. So maybe I'll go Shift T to show opacity. This is like layer opacity, so maybe I'll play with that as well. So it's not much of a like a harsh beginning. You see?
Yeah. Okay.
So like this range sets like the letter by letter opacity, but this other opacity is for like the layer. So instead of it going like at the beginning like super harsh, you see, it's like out of nowhere. It's like ID. What? I'm changing the layer opacity here. So now it's like a more smooth. Okay, and something cool that we can do now is bring wealth. So so we had already these rulers. You can either select them and throw them away, or control and semicolon.
Okay.
So we have idle, looks fine. And so now wealth. Something that's cool here, like you see, because this is kind of next to each other. We can make it appear from a bit behind, but with like a gradient or something. We'll see. So idle. So let's move position here. So P and Shift U, that gives me position plus whatever I have keyframes on, which is this fade thing. Separate dimensions. So we can do like what we want with edges. So I'm gonna keyframe that. Then so here, when you have something selected here, it's a graph editor, right? If you click here, you see nothing because you have nothing selected. By default, it's set to like a magnifying here thing. So the height of the values, it's automatic out of match value. If you take that off, you can then like move around if you want. There's many settings. Also a shortcut to go to the graph editor is Shift F3. So you just go there. So we want this to be super smooth. So let's see what's happening. It's too harsh. And it's happening too quick. Okay, maybe we have it like it's kind of nice when it appears like from behind the other one. So maybe we but then we
Yeah. I see what you mean.
yeah, but then we do like a because this well it's too hard. So one, we want to do like the opacity thing as well here, where we change the layer opacity, so it's not crazy. But then you see how this is annoying. You see, like this is not very fun. We can use the remember how we made a solid for the mask track matte or whatever.
Yeah.
So we can make a gradient, and we can use that as the matte. So Control Y to make a solid, whatever color, because it doesn't matter here, and I will name it Wealth Matte.
What's the difference between a solid and a gradient?
I will put the gradient on the solid. Remember how we did a checkerboard before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can do gradient ramp.
Okay.
So a solid, it's just like I'm gonna make a layer that can hold an effect that has a gradient, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
So in this case, so this sets the start of a ramp. So this effect gradient ramp, it you choose. So I select click here. If you click here, if you click this picker tool thing, that sets the start of the ramp. You see, start of the gradient. Don't select layer. So this start and this is the end. You see?
Yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna use this as the matte for the text here. So I'm gonna hide this for a second now, and I'm gonna move this. So essentially, we don't really want to see much here, or little, and then I'm gonna move this other one here to where it's gonna start becoming visible maybe. So we see this gradient. You see?
Yep.
So before, like for these ones here, we were using a matte. We were using the opacity of the matte with a mask to hide things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we use alpha inverted. Alpha is layer transparency, because this is a black and white image. We will use the color to define what's visible and what's invisible. So whatever that means is, if we go here, like above this wealth layer, we have this layer with the gradient. So if I go track matte, I can choose Luma matte, and you see what happens?
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, so essentially, when you use Luma, like before, we used to have transparency. So I don't know if you can see here, but essentially, well, yeah, like this is transparent, right? So we're basing off transparency. So I don't know if you see on the top right corner, but it says RGBA. RGB is red values, green values, blue values, and A is alpha, or transparency. So here is 0, here is 1. And in the middle, it's like the little pixel thingies. But in this case, we're gonna be basing on color values. So whatever is fully black is gonna be transparent, and whatever is gonna be fully white is gonna be visible. And we have this gradient here, so it makes like a fade. So so now you see this thing here. So now we can maybe we start the ramp or here. But then we want this only to last like for a few seconds. If I turn this off, okay, so this is a cool thing to show. So we kind of want this gradient to be temporary, right? We want to have like this fade at the beginning, but then not happen at all, because that's not what we want. And if we turn the opacity down of the matte, everything just disappears, because we're basing it on the color values of these. And if we make it full transparent, it means that it's not visible. A way to combat that is to actually invert this. So I use swap the colors. There's a button to swap colors here. You see?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So now, well, the opposite is gonna happen, but then let's do Luma inverted. So visually, like it's the same, but now if I turn the opacity down, now we can see it fully. You see?
Yeah.
Because so with Luma matte, what it means is, let's look at the colors of the layer above, and if it's white, it's visible. If it's black, it's invisible. But what also happens is that if I turn the opacity down, it makes everything black, I guess. So that's why it also makes the layer invisible. That's why I decided to do the inverted. So whenever it's transparent, it's visible. So that's why I flipped colors and then changed this mode.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So now if I do this, it's visible. So at the beginning we want this like gradient thing, but then I can keyframe here the opacity, and as this happens, it goes to fully opaque. So let's see what's happening right now. Yeah, we have to change the timing. So kind of feel like we have from like this point to like this point to show idle. I feel like idle is too slow. Like wealth seems more okay. But yeah, it is because we can literally just move things here. So this is idle. So let's just move it. Just grab keyframes and bring them to the left. And then maybe we have to kind of like move these ones. Maybe faster. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think it's a matter of getting to this thing here. Are you there?
Yeah,
hello? Okay. So because this is like random here, you see? Like starting from here would be a mistake. Like on the next, Yeah, like on the next one, for example. Where is this? So this was a cool concept of trying to teach people how to spell this, but like we have the audio here, but you know how karaoke has like
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I don't know if you can see here, but like the some cool detail. Well, I'm gonna click here so you can see the space. It's like the balls move there.
yeah.
I think I can slow this down. Yeah, so I had this, then this bounced,
It becomes the eye.
and then yeah, from that becomes that, and that, then everything kind of like
Uh,
comes out of that, and then you see, this is one of my favorite parts here. Like you see nicks, but then you have like these circle like push things around.
yeah, how the circles get bigger and smaller.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is the cool thing is that if we look at the reference you have, uh, like this one here, like, well, I'm gonna shut the ball. Well, he has his logo and it has like random things happen. Uh, you know what reminded me of this? Like seeing like this is just some
It's just random
it's
shit.
just random shit, man. Yeah, it's random shit. It's just fucking let's just I don't know. Uh,
Look fancy.
yeah, just look fancy thing. It's where do you see the like this type deal? You know,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
like this is something that came to my mind when you were talking to me. Uh, like it'd be cool if like whatever we do briefly or whatever kind of like shows something. We can do like a little thingy, you know, and then from that, well, I guess it all depends as well. Like because if he wants to look like a bank, then
Probably not
that
looking like a bank, but
then this is like a bank thing right now. But if he wants to like make it more puppy and friendly or whatever, we could add like we can make some cool or like have some. Uh, I mean, it could even be like if we look at this reference, uh, there's like these like flashy things here. You see,
yeah,
like these rectangles or whatever, they can like become like a shape or something, and then that becomes that. Or instead uh, of like random shit here, maybe like here he has what photo cinema or whatever it says. Imagine we have uh, well, we can use some elements from like this type deal or have text or something of like the content of whatever he's gonna be talking
yeah,
about,
exactly. Yeah,
and then maybe then from that we transition to somehow to this shape here, you know.
yeah,
uh,
gotcha.
it's kind of like I guess the meaning would be all these things like success, money, whatever, blah 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 blah, or or sim or it could even be icons, you know. uh, Maybe like currency icons or like some whatever montage we do if we want to go to like with this style thing.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to look like that. That was just an idea.
Okay.
But
uh
maybe like see how in the background of that one, he's got like he's filming something in the background.
Oh, here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I could do something like that. That's what I was thinking more than anything. Having see a guy in the background jumping over
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
all the stuff he's doing. Yeah, I like that.
Do you have stuff, by the way? Like, have you
Uh,
have you guys
Maybe
filmed
stuff
anything?
like that won't take long to get.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you guys film something and then because that would make it more interesting than just having like a
Yeah,
solid
yeah.
solid thing. Uh, and then we can add some elements, kind of like whatever, but that makes more sense, right? Than A. What the fuck does this guy have? Oh, we have the same mic. I have the same mic as this guy. I wonder if it's the same brand of the holder thing as well.
Right?
Dude, I think I have the same stand as his. The same
Yeah, I've
like
got that same stand. Everyone uses that stand.
the same stand with the same mic. Oh my
Yeah.
god! I need. Where's my hat? I should wear my hat. My god. But this guy has like a more simple one. Full time
Yeah.
filmmaker. Cool. But yeah, you guys can film that, and then we can do like part dos, where it's like doing the like to jazz this up and then land here. And yeah, if
We
we
could do that.
yeah, and like having
Do
have
it in the next couple days. Just go out and film some stuff with him, and then yeah, do a part two to this.
yeah, it make it definitely more energetic than having a solid background, just having like
Yeah,
some
definitely.
stuff. Yeah, cool, man. Um, so are we good? How do you feel about
I
what?
learned so much today. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and watch it because yeah, there's a few things that I've already gotta rewatch it. And, yeah, try to
Yeah, but
replicate the same thing myself to sort of learn it.
yeah, and I can also share you this project, uh, so
Oh
you
yeah,
can see it. But if you think about it, like it's like there's things here and there, but it's not crazy, man. It's not
yeah. It's
crazy.
like it's a bit overwhelming to look at all this, but then once you break it all down, it all makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah. That's I will
That looks sick though. I really like it so far.
yeah. Yeah, and it should like with the footage and then with blah blah and then with music, uh, it will look better.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll do that in the next
Yeah,
couple days and
I'll
let you
I'll
know.
I will upload this on YouTube as well, so you can watch it.
Yeah, cool. I'll show
Cool,
my
man.
brother as well. He can learn.
Yeah, and everybody watching, if you want to support me, subscribe. Dude, we got a deal with NordVPN.
Oh yeah.
So NordVPN dot org/unitas or use code unitas for like 70% off, and I think first month for free.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna make graphics soon for the players and everybody, but everybody watching out there, that's cool, man. Hey, if you should check if maybe what is it, the Painkiller or whatever it was, the thing I sent you, maybe it works.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
if
don't know. It's just I
but
blame coronavirus. Internet's just shit right now.
no, yeah, but I think that's more for ping and not uh and not like internet speed.
Download speeds. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
it's yeah. Oh, Kane just joined. Hey, Kane.
Where is he? On Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook. Yeah,
He joined me.
cool. Well, let me know, man, when you have the footage, and then we can continue with this. I'll
Yeah,
share you this
definitely.
project.
No, you've helped so much. I'll definitely stay in contact, and I'll get the footage within like 2 or 3 days.
Okay, cool, man.
Alright, awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.
Have a good one.